Just like there is the Constitution of America and commentaries written by lawyers. All these can be used to understand the Constitution. Similarly, we use all the Vedic knowledge. So let's find out from the Vedas about God.
Nice intro.
Sweet.
Namaste, world raisers. Sabine and Roger here. Let's watch what Vedas say about God.
This is going to be good. I didn't know it was the Vedas, so awesome. And Swami Mukundananda, we have never watched one of his videos. I have no idea who he is or what he's about, so let's dive right into this.
Let us first go to the Samaved, the Cain Upanishad of the Samaved. The Cain Upanishad says, Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na vedasaha avigyatam vijanatam vigyatam avijanatam. You have come to know about God? Yes, I am seeking knowledge of God. In that case, first know this. That person who thinks I can know God has no knowledge of God. That person who thinks nobody can know God, he truly knows God. What? The Vedas have deflected us. They say if you think you can know God, you do not know Him. If you think you can never know God, then you actually know Him. Not in one place, once again. Yadi manyase suvedeti dabhramevapi nunam tvam vetha brahmano rupam. You wish to understand God? Yes. Then first understand that if you understand that somebody can understand God, then you have no understanding of God. If your understanding is who can understand God, then you truly understand Him. The Vedas have again deflected us. What is the indication out here? That you can never know Him. The Vrihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Sa esha neti netyatma grahyaha. He is incomprehensible to you. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. The Kathopanishad says, God is beyond your logic and argumentation. Yato vacho nipravartante aprapya manasasaha. The Taittiriya Upanishad says, your intellect cannot grasp God. Not only the Vedas. Come to the Bhagavad Gita. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjana bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. In the 7th chapter, 26th verse, Sri Krishna says, Arjun, I am Trikal Darshi. I have knowledge of the present, the future, the past. But Mam tu Vedana Kaschana, me, nobody knows. Again he says in 7.25, Naham Prakashaha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritah. Arjun, there is a curtain of Yoga Maya that is upon me, and a curtain of Maya that is upon the soul. The soul is unable to remove the curtain of Maya. How will the soul remove the curtain of Yoga Maya? So, Naham Prakashaha Sarvasya. The other religious traditions are saying the same thing. The Bible says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are not your ways. For the heavens are higher than the earth, and so are my thoughts higher than your thoughts, and my ways higher than your ways. And the Quran Sharif says, Va lillahi gaibus samawati wal arzi ya ayyuhu allazin. This is the ayat of the Quran Sharif. It is saying, E iman walo, जमीन और आसमान के भेद को अल्लाह मियाँ खुदावंद ताला के अतिरिक्त कोई नहीं जानता. The Guru Granth Sahib says, तुम्हारी गत में तो तुम ही जाने. My Lord, you alone understand who you are and what you are. There was a Western philosopher called F.A. Jacobi. He said, God whom we could know would be no God. If you could know him, you would become God. So everybody is saying in one voice, God is unknowable. There was a Christian saint called Augustine. He wrote many books talking about God, describing him. One day he was on the beach side. He found a little boy filling water from the ocean into a hole. He would repeatedly go take the ocean water and put it in the hole. Saint Augustine's curiosity was aroused. What's going on here? He went and asked that boy, what are you doing? The boy said, I'm filling the ocean in that hole. Saint Augustine said, how can you do that? Impossible. The little boy said, but you are doing the same thing. You are trying to describe the indescribable God that is equally impossible. So if we cannot know God, then how will we develop love for him? On one side, the Vedas said you need to know God. By knowing him, you will attain the bliss that your soul is seeking. And now that we strive to know him, the Vedas are telling us you cannot know him. Why can we not know him? Let's find out. What is the problem with him? The problem is not with him, the problem is with us, the knower. What is the problem with us? Our instruments of knowledge are defective.
One second, the music is so beautiful. Oh, I enjoyed this very much. He is a great speaker. And so, how do you say, knowledgeable?
Yeah, knowing, like pulling wisdom from the other traditions and religions, and quoting scriptures directly. I think he was even speaking other languages.
I was wondering if he was actually speaking, what's the language of the Muslims?
Islamic? I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't even know the language. But, yeah.
Yeah, this was really, that was a good video.
Yeah, so still, processing, basically, so the Vedas seem contradictory. So the Vedas, the way I understand them, are basically, the highest teachings or scriptures within Hinduism. And then the Upanishads are part of that, right? So so he was quoting, verses from the Upanishads.
Okay, so 1 second. So we have the Vedas, then the Upanishads are part of the Vedas, and the Bhagavad Gita is...
I think it's part of the Vedas also, but it might be a separate sort of thing. If anybody wants to clarify in the comments section, that'd be great if you have the time, just to let us know a little bit more about that. But yeah, the way I see it is that actually the Upanishads are the teachings of the rishis that were highly enlightened beings, and then when they were teaching, their teachings were recorded as the Upanishads, and then the Vedas came after as just the wisdom of what the Upanishads were taught. So the Upanishads are actually quite small and concise, but there's so much wisdom and knowledge in what these enlightened beings were teachings that the Vedas, came from that. The Bhagavad Gita. I think
the Vedas came from that?
Yeah. The Vedas are based on the Upanishads.
Oh, before you said the Upanishads are part of the Vedas.
Yeah, my understanding of that is always fluctuating, it seems. Yeah. So I used to think that the Vedas were, the main books, and the Upanishads were a small part of it. But then later I came across some other teachings that said that, no, the Upanishads were, from these first realized, highly enlightened beings, the rishis, and then the Vedas came from that. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. That's part of what he's saying in this video, is that it's good to not know. So if you guys know, you can share in the comments. But ultimately, the conceptual understanding of what teaching came first and after, is minimal concern, because it's the actual teachings that are pointing to the truth, and our understanding of them that is truly important, right? Which is why I think he was a great teacher, and he was pulling from the Bible, St. Thomas Aquinas, even from the Quran, right? And able to take that wisdom and say, yeah, because they're all saying the same things, that we can't really know God intellectually, right? There are paths and practices and teachings, by undoing our conceptual, ego, psychological, mentally constructed mind, and, and purifying our negativities and our defilements and ignorance. Then eventually, an enlightened being, highly realized, self-realized, they would have a direct, experience of God, supposedly, in the higher enlightened states. But it's not the intellect that is going to be able to know that. It's going to be a knowing of consciousness and awareness beyond the psychological constraints of the thinker, right? So that's why, if you think you know God, you don't know God, right? But if you think you can't know God, then you're actually closer to knowing God, because you're undoing, the ego likes to think that it knows everything, right? Yeah. So, he was great. I like him.
Yeah, he was fun. I really enjoyed it.
More of his teachings.
And I understood it the same way, that the ego-identified being cannot know God. And if you think you know God, like, you can have an intellectual understanding, but if you really think you've discovered God, or you're one with God, then maybe not. Maybe, there's a lot of pride there, and that really needs to be checked. But, if you go deeper and beyond the mind, and you merge with God, and then, then there won't be any thoughts arising, I am one with God, because it's going to be beyond.
It's like the truth of, the oneness, the non-duality, right? It's just going to be, an experience of, in the highest reality, that is what's happening already, right? So like the Buddha said, is that Buddha nature is always there. We just need to, experience it. It actually is our true reality, that we're all one with God, because God is the source of everything. But this is still just an intellectual understanding. But, even Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you and outside of you. You just don't see it. So also just pointing to the veil, right? The ignorance, right? The delusion of seeing ourselves as separate. So it's the perception of, there's one infinite field of consciousness, and it is, the fourth state. One of the Upanishads teaches that, right? The Turiya. And it's the consciousness of all consciousness, right? But we're filtered through, this body, and then this perception, and then accumulating all the karmic memory that, clouds us. And that's the veil, the Maya, that, that God placed over the soul, right? Or that just happened, right? That ignorance. So, Anyway, yeah, fantastic.
That was fun, yeah.
Yeah. So if you like this video as much as we did, please hit that like button. Remember to subscribe. It really, really helps the channel. Let us know what you think about this video down in the comments, and any clarifications you can offer us. We really, really appreciate your wonderful comments. And remember, raise yourself
and raise the beautiful world. Thank you so much, everyone. And a very special thank you to all our members. We love you.
Peace.